There's a lazy version of NBA analytics that says the smartest team is just the one that shoots the most threes. Listen for the distinction here. The argument isn't anti-math, it's anti-bad math.
We got the looks we wanted. That's how they play. They are programmed.
They did get the looks they wanted.
But I'm just saying, like, in basketball, we know that there is a level of balance to this, right? When Reggie Miller, a man who's literally in the Hall of Fame for shooting threes, says, I think you guys are hitting too many threes, like, that is a warning sign. And I hate when people come like, oh, the analytics are, I'm going to tell you exactly, as a guy who did this, what the analytics say. The number one shot, highest expected point value shot, is a layup or a dunk. That's number one. Number two, a free throw. Number three is a corner three. Number four, above the break three. And number five, any mid-range shot, right? So this idea that the math tells you that's what gets so frustrating when Dan's like, the Celtics figured out the math. I'm like, no, Dan, that's not the math. To just keep shooting threes is not the math. You shoot the best possible shot. An uncontested shot is better than a contested one. And a shot at the rim is better than any other shot on the floor. And the second best shot is getting to the free throw line. And they openly thumb their nose at that and say, we're just going to shoot 1,000,000 of these. And when they go in, we'll be champs. And when they don't, we'll lose to worse teams. We'll lose to the Heat, who are 8 seed. We'll lose to the Sixers, who are 7 seed.
And the Knicks were like a 5 or something?
But I mean, is that a standard sort of what the best shot is, or does that ebb and flow based on how defenses work? Because I would like to see the thing that I just referred to with the NHL playoffs. Stylistic differences, the outcome of two games. One's 2-1, nail biter, the other one's 9-6. And I think it's potentially a good thing for the NBA that now you have this, aside from, it being Sixers Knickerbockers, beyond all that, you have potentially a nice matchup in the pivot, which is different than what we've seen for the last, half decade at least in the NBA playoffs, which is just teams jacking up threes and who's making them on a given night.
But see, I feel this is why I always talk about the NBA as a PR problem, because you just said that, and we're talking about a team that has Joel Embiid. That's clearly not how they play, right?
I'm saying that with them winning, now it makes them relevant. The Sixers never do anything, so you can't really point at them and say, see, they're playing through the guy in the low post. Well, who cares? If they don't win, they don't do anything.
Denver plays through the low post. They won a championship. Oklahoma City plays a lot in the mid-range where Shai Gilgeous-Alexander operates.
I love it.
They're not an awesome three-point shooting team. They're a good three-point shooting team, but it's hardly like the meat and potatoes of their offense. And so they're obviously the best team in basketball. I think there are vast stylistic differences across the NBA. They're all based on your talent. Who do I have? What kind of player do I have? If I have a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, guess what? We're shooting a bunch of mid-range shots. If I have a Joel Embiid, guess what? I'm going to the post. That's how basketball has always been. The part where I say, hey, these are the highest expected point value shots, I'm not telling you how to get them. I'm just telling you this is it. It's in the same way that if I tell you, hey, protein is good, I'm not telling you, well, you got to go to McDonald's every day and get a Big Mac. I'm saying you need to get proteins, whether you get that from McDonald's or you get that from the grocery store, whether you get that from Chipotle. Well, you would know.
That's there's
whoa. You're better than that.
I am better than that. I'm sorry.
Raise your game.
Let's be better. The NBA playoffs have been pretty great and pretty surprisingly great. If you look at the Eastern Conference, the worst series, air quotes, was New York Atlanta. That went 6, and that one individually
that was still an interesting series.
And it was an interesting series. There have been some surprises. I don't think anyone, like you were saying, that you'd be surprised if LA won a game. Here they are with the 2 big injuries. They're in the second round against OKC. OKC did what it was supposed to do, but Philadelphia over Boston, especially the way that we got there, shocking. A little disappointed that Denver's not in the next round because I wanted to see Jokic versus Wemby.
I'm not.
But, I mean, that was an upset. And to do it with injuries to their superstar, which is weird because that's weird, right? You can only talk about injuries when it's Jason Tatum and not Ant Edwards.
Yeah, first of all, I want to start with Denver. No, they don't deserve. You guys had you talk about they didn't have Anthony Edwards. They didn't have Dante DiVincenzo. They didn't have Ayo Dosunmu. They literally had no guards. They had to turn to Terrence Shannon Jr., who hadn't played at all. And
good player though.
Well, Coach Finch is like, yeah, we figured out finally. Like it took us all year, but just give it to him at the top and let him keep going left, right? As opposed to standing in the corner. So Minnesota is literally doing what Joe Mazzulla did by choice, which is like, I've got to try something because I don't have anything else. Joe Mazzulla's like, I've got other things, but you know what? Luka Garza, I feel good about this one. So, but Denver, they did not respect the opponent. And when the opponent ratcheted up, like the intensity
and desperation,
and beyond
that they played with early on, that series turned when everyone started going neck first for these boards.
But like Minnesota, we start with that whole the unwritten rule game, right? And it's like, yo, he doesn't respect you. What part of this are you guys? Oh, how classless? What are you guys talking about? He's busting your ass. He's calling you guys bums before a game. By name, right? So, like, Denver did not come to me with the appropriate intensity to win that series, regardless of whether Anthony Edwards gets hurt or not. But there was a bad series, and it's going to shock
Thunder
people.
Suns was bad.
No, it wasn't. It was entertaining. It was entertaining.
It was a sweep is what it was.
It was a sweep, but no. I'm going to tell you something. Detroit-Orlando was awful. I get it. It went 7, and they came back from 3-1, and there's drama in the macro. But if you're watching those basketball games, it's literally just throwing rocks at each other. It's like, oh, what's going on? It's like, well, I ran out of bricks, so this is all I got is more rocks. And they just throw it at each other. That one was awful.
The arc of the series might be compelling to an NBA fan as a soap opera is compelling, but I don't think the individual games, very many of them, this spring, and again, I go back to last season and the season before that, I don't think NBA playoff games are all that satisfying to watch, especially in comparison to the Stanley Cup playoffs, which, by the way, I'll say again, they really should have pulled the plug on once the Penguins lost in Game 6. It would have been better to just move on. But either way, the other thing that's crazy is that we continue to we've been in it, the frogs boiling in the water for 30 years now or whatever it is. Almost literally, since Michael Jordan leaves the Chicago Bulls in 98, the Western Conference of the NBA is perpetually so much better than the Eastern Conference. It is wild, and the only thing that props it up is that it's Miami, it's New York City, it's Boston, and it's Philly that makes it relevant that it's this rolling conversation, these East Coast metropolises. Otherwise, what are we even talking about? It's really like JV, like who's going to get through the JV side because all the heavyweights are on the other. And that's been the case for 30 years now. It's wild how this has persisted, right? We talk about, although the AFC has all the good quarterbacks for the last 5 years. That's true. This has gone over 30 years. What gives already?
You know what, Dave? I would love to agree with you, except for the fact if we go back to this era of parity that we've had since 2019, we're a different champion every year. 2019, it's the Toronto Raptors. That's an Eastern Conference team. Mm-hmm. 2021, it's the Milwaukee Bucks. That's an Eastern Conference team, right? 2024, they're the Boston Celtics. That's an Eastern Conference team. And now this year, like we all expect it to be Oklahoma City, but the reality is only one team gets to represent a conference.
So are teams like Boston pushing modern basketball forward or mistaking volume for strategy? Leave your take in the comments and like and subscribe for more clips like this.